What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another post game here on Rangers Central. And the Rangers lose 6-3 to the Tampa Bay Lightning in game 66 of the regular season. Not a fun one. Not a fun one at all. And a very infuriating game because the Rangers had the lead. They're up 2-0 against the Lightning. Stop me if you've heard that one before. And they ended up blowing the game. One mistake unraveled this team entirely. And that's the thing that's the most concerning to me is that we've seen it time and time again with this group that one mistake sometimes will unravel this team. And this is their third game in 4 nights. You could argue fatigue, but my main problem is that, again, this has been a habit that has been there for a bit now. And it's just annoying, too. I say something good about this team. I'm bought into this, and then they follow it up with this game. Obviously, I'm not changing my entire opinion after this one game because the first period was so good that maybe it is fatigue. Maybe it is, but I'm really hoping that it is just that because that's a very concerning sight that they choked that lead the way that they did. And even if it is fatigue, it is a little scary thinking about how could this team win 16 if they get fatigued that easily. But I digress. Before we jump further into the post-game show here, leave a like here if you do enjoy it. Subscribe if you guys are new, especially if you're Ranger fans, and turn on your notifications so you know when I upload or go live next. And it's so annoying because after that first period, I thought they were going to cruise to another victory. I thought this was going to be locked up, no doubt in the bag, a win right here. Because right off the rip, too, the Rangers had the jump. Kreider had a chance off of the opening draw, but Chernak would back check there. And then Tampa started to get some pressure, but the Rangers were doing every little thing right that we've seen them do over this win streak. They were getting sticks in the passing lanes. They were blocking a lot of shots, and they were doing the little details right. Defending the neutral zone well. Granted, there were times where they were getting through the neutral zone, Tampa Bay, because Anthony Duclair was just having a legacy game here, and it looks like I was wrong about him being more of a passenger player. That dude was driving play for the Lightning all night long. And then the Rangers started to get more of their offense going, though. Like, they were getting rush chances. Then they started generating off the cycle. They got a power play, too. Didn't do much with it. But the Rangers' transition game was just beautiful all first period long, and that's how they scored their goal. Schneider gave it up to Trocheck, gave it to Laff, and then it went back to Trocheck, a 2-on-1 there. Great patience by Trocheck to pull that back, pass it over to Panarin, who has the open cage to shoot on to make it 1-0. And it just, again, it felt like a game where they were going to just dominate and that they had full control of the game, and they would score yet again, too. Great forechecking. Roslovic would skate in with speed. Perbix on the back check. Good work, though, by Roslovic. He continued to stick on the play. Gave it to Mika behind the net. Mika to Schneider right in front in the slot, and he buries it to make it a 2-0 game. It was just such an easy period to watch. Such an easy period to watch, like it's been over the win streak, where the Rangers were in control. They possessed the puck pretty much the entire period. They got quality chances. They didn't allow a lot of quality chances against. And then the second period rolls along, and they let up an early chance in the slot from Stamkos, but then the Rangers started to get pressure again. They got a couple rushes. Panarin should not have passed on that rush chance with Lafreniere. I'm still scratching my head on that one. And that, like, again, they at least were doing the little things right. Like, they were still defending well. And granted, again, I didn't like that they weren't generating a lot of chances, but at least they were dumping the puck in, forechecking, and at least doing some of the little things right. They got a power play, too, which just went absolutely nowhere yet again. And it would be 2-1, though, later on in the period as a terrible turnover by Johnny Brzezinski. And then he was very lazy on the back check there. And it's a 2-on-1. Braden Point would score. And the other reason that I can't get behind the fatigue argument, too, is the turnover by Brodzinski is really what unraveled this team, and Brodzinski's not in the lineup on the regular, so he hasn't played a lot of games lately. He shouldn't be, like, that's just a boneheaded play. You can't, I'm sorry, but you can't blame fatigue for turning the puck over at the blue line the way that they did. And it happened way too much in this game. And we'll talk more later about some of the other issues that they had with turning the puck over, because it just continued and got worse and worse throughout the game. But then Lafreniere, terrible shift by him. Cannot understand there. I forgot if it was Trocheck or Panarin, but they give the puck right behind the net to Lafreniere. Vasilevsky has no idea where the puck is, and Lafreniere is just not moving his feet. Goes up the wall instead, trying to look for the pass. This is where we need Lafreniere to take a step forward in terms of his confidence with shooting the puck, because he should be driving to the damn net with nobody around him and ripping that thing, or maybe pulling off a nice move in front of the net and dish it across there if you're going to. But instead, he's not moving his feet. He gets the puck stripped from him from Hagel. Then he takes an interference penalty on that same sequence. That can't happen. That cannot happen. And the Rangers do a good job killing it off. But then right afterwards, that line from Duclair, yet again, him just pressuring the Rangers and too much puck watching from the Rangers. Braden Point wide open in the slot. Lindgren puck watching there. Thankfully, Igor makes a save, but Trocheck kicks out the puck that Igor had covered right to Anthony Duclair, and he scores to tie the game up at 2. Then you have Miller just making terrible turnovers. Schneider has to cover for that. Terrible period, but you're tied at 2. And you played a good first period. You have a chance to go in there in that third period and really go, and you have a chance to win the hockey game. You're lucky it's tied at 2 with how bad that second period went. And then they played just a brutal third period yet again. Tampa Bay started off with all the pressure, but the Rangers did score first. Kreider, good forechecking again. Actually forechecking now, which is nice to see. Up to Adam Fox, who makes a beautiful feed to Roslovic, and he scores his first goal as a Ranger. Love the consistency from Roslovic all night long. He was like the one forward, in my opinion, that played really a consistent game for a full 60. Wenberg then blocking shots, and the Rangers had to continue blocking shots. Jones then with a turnover to Tyler Mott. He overpasses though on a 2-on-1. And then there was a 4-on-4 because Dumba and Kreider both got penalties. And then it would be 3-3. Terrible puck watching. I said it before the goal even happened. What are you doing, Gustafsson? He's not even looking at Braden Point coming down there on the rush. And Igor Shesterkin, though, has to have that. There's no way around it. That's not a good goal. Both things can be true. Gustafsson cannot puck watch there, and that has to be stopped by Igor Shesterkin. Neither things came to fruition. And due to that, it was a 3-3 game. Then just constant chances in the slot for Tampa Bay. Jones had a nice little play on the rush. And then this one aggravated me the most. Miller with a terrible pass in the offensive zone across, trying to go D to D. Kucherov cuts it off, and he gets a breakaway. Miller makes up for it on the back check, but that can't happen. Cannot happen. Then he had another bad shift where he's falling, trying to receive a pass there. Cooley goes off for a slashing penalty that shift, and then the writing was on the wall that Tampa Bay inevitably was going to score. And Tampa Bay just moves the puck so well on that power play. They drew Adam Fox to puck chase and go down to the corner. So Mika has to cover the slot, and sure enough, they get the pass across to Stamkos, who's wide open, to make it 4-3. Then the Rangers, again, they would start to get some good chances, but nothing really good enough. It would be 5-3 though. Hedman with a shot. Point hits the post. They keep the pressure. Hedman the point, and he scores the hat trick there, 5-3. Then the Rangers started to show some urgency as they got their forecheck back a little bit, and there was a good chance there for Zach Jones. Kucherov scored the empty netter though, and that was it. Just a brutal third period. They got a couple of good chances, but you weren't winning that game with how much pressure you invited in your own end, and as well with the fact that you were so careless with the puck. I don't understand how one mistake got them to unravel this much, and how they were so careless with the puck after that one mistake. That cannot happen. That cannot happen. The thing that I was so excited, I was just thinking after the first period when I thought they were going to cruise to a victory, I was ready to rave about how good the puck movement was in that first period and hoping that would be all night long because everything was tape to tape, everything. And then it just fell apart. And there's no way around it. It just pisses me off. It just I can't understand. Could not understand why this team unravels. I could tell you now though, if there is fatigue from this team, some guys need to be taken out of the lineup. I think next game, now that you lost, and because either way I want it to happen, but now that there's a loss, it at least makes it justifiable. Next game on Saturday, get Eric Gustafsson out of the lineup and put in Chad Ruedel. I'm not saying that he was the worst defenseman tonight, Gustafsson, but you got to make some sort of change there if guys are fatigued. Like, why not get Chad Ruedel into the game? And it's tough, too, because, again, like, realistically, the worst pair tonight was Fox and Lindgren. I mean, Miller, too, was terrible, but Schneider at least, like, held some ground there and covered up for a couple mistakes that Miller made. So you're not going to take him out, and you're not going to take Fox or Lindgren out, obviously. So, yeah, if guys are fatigued, you got to get Chad Ruedel in there. You got to get Chad Ruedel in a game. Maybe call up Edstrom and get him in a game to replace either Brodzinski or someone like that. I don't know. You got to make some sort of change because Brodzinski shouldn't even be playing after that mistake. That was so boneheaded. And then the lazy back check effort just was the icing on the cake for me. It just sucks too with that second line too, because I thought they did a good job in terms of their offensive pressure throughout the night a lot of the time. Lafreniere, that one shift really tainted his performance and really left a bad taste in my mouth for what happened with that game. But I don't know. Just infuriating that this team unraveled the way that did. But you go into Pittsburgh on Saturday for an afternoon game. That's a team you got to beat. That's a team you have to beat. They are not good right now. And I don't know what they're going to do with the goalie situation. You have to think that they're going to go with Quick Saturday and then Igor Sunday. I could be wrong, but that's what I would think because you went Igor now with these recent 2 games. So why not put Quick in and then get Igor back in action against the Islanders because they have a back-to-back, which I just don't. That really annoys me too, is this freaking schedule. The fact that they just played a back-to-back on Monday and Tuesday, and then Saturday and Sunday, they get another back-to-back in 2 afternoon games. Not even a 24-hour turnaround from the Pittsburgh game, too. You get a 3 o'clock and a 1 o'clock game. That's just great. But I don't know if I really have much else to say about this game. So before I jump to the chat, leave a like I said, if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't. Thank you guys so much for the recent support. Your likes on the last post-game show. That means a lot. Let's see if we could do it again. See if you guys could do it again. So let's see what you guys have to say in the chat now. Jekyll and Hyde game. One dumb play by Brodzinski shouldn't make the wheels come off. Yeah, exactly, Steven. And we've seen it happen with this team a lot. Not going to overreact because it's their 4th game in like 6 days or whatever, but that is kind of playoff hockey. Yeah, and this is a team that they might face come playoff time. That's the thing that really, really worries me too, is they might play this team in the playoffs. I think that actually would be their matchup if the playoffs started today, is Tampa Bay. And yeah, it would, because Florida would get the Islanders since they're the 2nd wild card. Philly's actually holding their own right now, which is really shocking me. So yeah. And then the Rangers would play Tampa Bay because they're the 1st wild card. Yeah, apparently the Rangers after the 1st moved on to Pittsburgh too. You're right, Beast. Yeah, they played so well, and then things just crumbled. Yeah, I cannot. I can't understand some of these plays from Keandre Miller. That's the thing that has drove us up the wall though about Miller all this time, right? Is some nights he looks like the best defenseman, and we're raving about how good he is, and then other nights he looks like he's the best defenseman, or no, the opposite, I should say. He looks like he is one of the worst defensemen in the NHL. It's just there's no in between with Keandre Miller, which is really the thing that aggravates me with him. I was literally raving about him earlier today on Twitter. That's also what sucks. Oh, I'm not complimenting Miller. He was terrible tonight. Don't take it as I was complimenting him. Sorry if I get distracted a bit. I'm trying to watch the Knicks game here at the same time. Yeah, Brodzinski shouldn't be playing. He shouldn't. So, listen, I get that he's coming out of the press box for the first time in a while, but he's like he looked okay last game. He's got to be ready to play though. If Zach Jones could sit months and be ready to go the way he has, there's no excuse for Johnny Brodzinski, who has only sat for like 3-4 games, to not be able to get back in the lineup and play. Actually, I think less than that. I think like 2 games. It's a real concern how mentally fragile this group of players are. They're in control and make one mistake all of a sudden, and all of a sudden they lose their structure. Yeah, we talked about that a lot, Matt. And it was actually you that I should give you credit for the point that I was making before, that like with this team, we've seen it before. Like that's the other reason why it's hard to say that this is a fatigue thing, is because this isn't a one-off thing. If this was a one-off, it's like, all right, but I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, they didn't shut down their top guys at all. They didn't shut down the top guys at all on Tampa Bay, which is really annoying too. Played perfect until they started turning the puck over. Yeah. Not being dramatic because they lost a game. I get they can't win them all, but it's the mental lapse they all have over one goal / mistake. Defense, Igor, all of them stop playing their game. That's the exact point, Nicole, that I've been making. Yeah. Go from cup favorites in the first period to looking like a lottery team. Truly remarkable. It's just infuriating. Yeah, I thought they were going to ride momentum after that Roslovic goal, too. I thought so, too. Yeah, seriously, they kept showing Braden Point on the bench nonstop. Brodzinski turnover was awful. Worst game all season. It's a bold take, Chris T. I don't know. There was a lot of ugly in January that you could pull from, but yeah, Kucherov and Point definitely railed them, to say the least. Listen, Freak, I'm not saying that this is the end all be all, but there's definitely some red flags in this game where it was kind of a reality check for us fans and hopefully the team, most importantly, that they can't get complacent. They cannot get complacent when they're up 2-0 in these hockey games. But I don't know. This, like I said, this better be a reality check to them. But it is to me too, because I was ready to run through a damn wall after last game. This has kind of tempered me back. I'm not saying that everything's over now and that they're not going to be fine. They're not going to win another hockey game. But all I'm saying is that this is definitely like toned back a bit the way I was feeling, and that I'm just going to let it play out. Yeah, they started. Yeah, they thought they won it 2-0. Stay out of the box, and they couldn't. Yep, that's true too. Yeah, I didn't like. I skipped by the comment by accident, but I'll try and find it again. I didn't really love the way. Let's see. Where was it? Where was that comment that I just saw? Yeah, I didn't like Kako's game. I thought that third line in general was very underwhelming, considering how they've been lately. Except for Wenberg. I liked Wenberg's game. I loved what Wenberg gave. Yeah, Schneider had another good game though. Schneider had another really good game in my opinion. He was doing a lot of things right and covered a lot for the mistakes that Miller made. 63 watching, like, share, subscribe to keep Evan ranting. Yes. Do all that, please. Although I'm not really ranting tonight. I'm kind of just it kind of just is what it is, you know? Honestly, Corey, yes, sloppy finish, but I have said it in here all week. They were due for they were due for a loss. I know. They were gonna lose at some point. I'm not like I said, I'm not saying that this is the writing on the wall for the season being over, but again, I think it's just more of a reality check. That's all. I wouldn't say that, agent, because one, you want home ice, and two, I wouldn't discredit Philly entirely. I mean, again, the playoffs, it is what it is. There's no easy out in the postseason. There's no easy out in the postseason. We should have learned that a long time ago. There's no easy out. You gotta. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. You're gonna have to beat good teams at some point in the playoffs if you want to win all 16. Watching Miller under pressure make decisions on where to pass the puck gives me literal heartburn. Cardiac Rangers, yes, buy your Cardiac Ranger shirts if you haven't. Link is in the description of those. In my opinion, is there any point that I think Laviolette should have used the timeout? Not really. Like, it's hard to say. There was a point to use the timeout. Maybe. Because the problem is when Tampa Bay tied the game up, they were about to go at 2, I should say. They were about to go into intermission. So it's like, you don't burn your time out there. You just ride out the period. And then when it comes to when they tie it up at 3, you can maybe argue when it was 4-3, but the problem with that too is that fourth goal was a power play goal. It's hard to call a timeout after a power play goal and think of that being a big swing in momentum entirely. I don't know. Maybe you could argue it, but I don't know when they could have really used the timeout. That's the issue. Yeah, maybe the third or fourth, but it was hard to argue that. Yep, didn't keep their foot on the gas after the first period. When you play a team that you dominate 3 games before, take the body to slow the game down, which they didn't do. Yep. Their forecheck just disappeared so quickly. It's a red flag right there. Something's wrong. I get the point, Diane, but again, Johnny Brzezinski hasn't played a lot of hockey lately, and he made the worst mistake of the night. That's caused this unraveling. Sorry, just looking through the comments. I think Tampa Bay will make the playoffs. It's hard to count that team out ever. They just always do it. I agree. Mental lapses happen, but it's the fact that one caused a pile, like mountain worth of them. It's one thing if it happens every once in a while during a game, because again, it's not possible to play a full perfect 60 minutes. It'd be nice if it was, but it's very difficult to. But you can't have that many mistakes. That many mistakes can't happen. Yeah, it's not that they lost; it's how they lost. That's the point, Nick. I agree with that. And yeah, they missed Rempe a lot, in my opinion. Yeah, shots flying wide of the net too. They had a lot of shot attempts in this game, but not a lot. How many did they have on goal? How many did they have on goal in this one? Because I don't even remember if it wants to load. All right, well, it's just a bug there. Maybe I could find it here. Sorry, just trying to look now because now I'm intrigued and I accidentally clicked on the wrong game because that game was also 6-3. Yeah, 28. How many attempts did they have? Does it say on here? I don't think it's going to say. Yeah. Doesn't say on here, but they had 28 shots. At one point, they had like 33 attempts. So, I don't know. Thoughts on Igor tonight? Could have been better. Team's too soft to win anything. Yeah, Igor was shaky tonight. I agree with everyone in chat saying Brodzinski needs to go. I'd rather see Edstrom in the lineup. I definitely would rather see Edstrom in. Rosovic did play good. Loved Rosovic's game. Again, he was the only one, in my opinion, out of the forward group that played a full 60-minute effort consistently. Especially with the forechecking. His forechecking did not stop all night. But I am going to wrap this up here since I am going to watch the Knicks game, since I'm going to have to do my post game for my Knicks channel as well. So thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching. Leave a like if you have not already. Sorry again for cutting it short. We'll talk more soon about this team, maybe a podcast at some point. And then Saturday as well is game day. And I'll answer this question before I go. Crazy how they got stolen. How is there not a police escort for that? Or just how I don't even know how they were stolen, so I can't even say that, but I don't get how. But once we do find out, I'll give more of my thoughts on that. But that's just insane that happened. But again, leave a like if you haven't already, subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you guys on Saturday. And it's an afternoon game, so yeah, so an earlier stream too. So see you guys then.